Hi guys, and welcome to a new Dawn. I am Dawn, and today's episode is Home for the Holidays. So if this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. So as always, y'all know I use my platform to talk about my own personal experiences with domestic violence and abuse, digital stalking, really just to bring awareness to a subject that I don't think is talked about enough, especially in our community. And sometimes I talk about my experiences with my health journey, with infertility, and I do like to share some of my experiences with fostering to adopt. I want to start a new series called Red Flags. I kind of touched on some red flags in some of my previous episodes, but we are in the midst of the holiday season and it is triggering some memories of my past that I just wanted to put down on film, kind of talk to you guys about, see what y'all are thinking. Maybe y'all are experiencing something that's similar, or you know somebody that is. If I could help somebody, I think that's just really what it's about. Even I have found that some of my viewers have experienced domestic violence in the past, and although they have survived that situation, they can 100% relate. So I thank you so much, guys, for keeping me encouraged to continue on my journey. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. So home for the holidays. Again, we right in the middle of the holiday season. Thanksgiving has passed. We're coming upon Christmas, New Year's. So again, I just really wanted to share my experiences, just kind of some things that I went through around this time of year. So as y'all know, I was in an abusive relationship for about 5 years. I also lived in Texas. I'm from the Midwest. Prior to me meeting my ex, when I very first moved to Dallas, it was scary, right? I mean, I was like in my early to mid 30s, I guess. It was not my first time living away from home, but it was my first time, I'll say, adulting away from home. I went to college out of state, so I had my experience away from home prior to me moving. But it was kind of scary, you know. I was like, before I left, I was working 2 jobs. I felt like, I really was living my best life, but I just felt like there was more out there for me, right? When I left, one of the things that was important to me was to figure out how can I get home for the holidays, right? Because obviously I miss my family. They weren't around the corner. So it wasn't like I could see them all the time or just drive over on Sunday for dinner or meet them for brunch on Saturday or, you know, even like Taco Tuesday. You know, we couldn't get together for things like that. But FaceTime was really beginning to be popular around the time that I left. So it came in clutch, right? So I never felt completely disconnected with my family because I could see them all the time through FaceTime, and I could talk and text with them as often as I wanted to. But it's nothing like, you know, being right next to them. It's nothing like being at your mom's house, right? So it was important to me. Like my first year there, actually the first year I left, I left in September and I came right back about a month or so later. My good girlfriend was getting married and I was in the wedding. So I came home almost right after I left for the weekend. And then because I did that so quickly, I did not come home for Thanksgiving or Christmas that year. I had just started my job, you know, so I was like really trying to be a little mindful about the time that I took off. But the next summer, so the very first summer that I was there, my sister and my nephew came to visit me, and what went from like a week visit turned into like 3 or 4 weeks or something. They stayed for quite a long time. Then that following year, I made it home for Christmas. I never was able to make it home for Thanksgiving because if y'all travel around Thanksgiving, the flights are so expensive. So it was something that I just felt like, even if I could figure out how to afford it, which I couldn't, but I probably could figure it out. I was single, right? It just seemed like it was unreasonable to do that for such a short trip. So I saved my coin and I came home for Christmas, and that way I could stay for a week or so or whatever, and then come back and, still have my time before I had to go back to work. So I moved in 2013. So 2015, I came home. 2016 is when I met my ex. Now, I never came home for like the summer holidays or anything like that, but I tried to make it home for Christmas. And my family and I had started to get a routine. Like the one summer, my sister and my nephew came down. The next summer was my mom. And then the next summer was my sister and my nephew. And then my mom. So like we kind of had a rotation. And then when they weren't down there, I would come up for the holiday. So 2016 comes around. I meet my ex. 2016, I had talked about this in a couple of my previous videos. I lost both of my grandmothers in 2016. One of them at the beginning of 2016 and the other one at the end of 2016. So it was like a really sad year. It was a sad year. So my grandmother on my father's side passed away in the latter part of 2016. And I wanted to come home for the funeral. It just so happened that it was before Christmas. Well, at the time, I remember really trying to figure out like how I was going to get home, right? I hadn't planned on coming home that year, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. At the time, the prices for flights were just astronomical. They were ridiculous. And I remember my boyfriend at the time, kind of talking about me driving home. And I didn't want to drive home. It was like a 16-hour drive. Way too long for me to do by myself in the winter. It was just a lot to just think about or imagine. And so he volunteered to come with me. He had never been to my hometown before, and he knew that it was important for me to come be with my family during such a difficult time, right? So that became the plan. So we ended up driving up here. We stayed for a couple days, maybe like 4 or 5, and then we drove back. At the time, we were still living in Dallas, and things were not perfect, but they weren't real bad. I used to always tell people that the abuse didn't start until we moved to Houston, but it was a lie. There were things that were happening when we were in Dallas, but I just kind of brushed them off because they were just so far and few between. So we were having a good time with each other. This was like one of the times I really felt like this person really cares about me, like I remember us talking about me coming home. I remember us laying in the bed. I remember him like doing little things like rubbing my face and like just letting me know that things were going to be okay. We would figure it out. He would do anything to, help me figure out how to get home. And even if that meant driving up there in the middle of the winter, right? So at the time I thought this was real cool. Let me go back a little bit. I was not planning to go home that year for Christmas. One of the reasons why I wasn't planning to go home for Christmas is because he didn't want to go home with me. I don't want to talk about it here, but just keep that in the back of your mind. So fast forward 2017, we moved to Houston. 2017, we moved to Houston during Hurricane Harvey. It was like total chaos. I did not come home 2017. 2018, I didn't make it home for Christmas. But 2018, my nephew graduated from college. So I was able to come home for his 18th birthday and surprise him. And then I made it home for his graduation. I did not come home for Christmas that year. 2019, I did not come home for Christmas that year. 2020, I came home for Christmas. And if y'all have watched my previous videos, by 2020, I was ready to jump off the ledge. Like I was like right on the edge. That year, 2020, I was determined to come home because I had not been home 2016. I had not been home 2017, 2018, 2019. And if y'all remember, 2020 is kind of when COVID hit. We were shut in for quite some time. It was a lot happening. So I just made a promise to myself that no matter what, I'm going to figure out how to get home, and I'm going to go home whether he comes with me or not. And that's exactly what I did. So rewind, all of those years that I didn't come home, I did go home with him. It started out like, oh, I want you to come home and meet my family. And then it would be, my daughter's down there, so I want to see her for the holiday. At the time, I thought this is okay, right? That first year, I didn't want to come home without him. In my mind, I felt like me and this guy are in a relationship and I want to spend the holidays with you, right? I would love for you to come home and spend the holiday with me and my family. I can understand that you also would like for me to go home with you and spend the holiday with your family. How can we make this work, right? Now, just a little insight into my history. My parents are divorced and they've been divorced since I was 2 years old. So I've literally never known them together. Growing up, my parents would figure out how to co-parent. It wasn't called co-parenting back then, but they figured out how to do it. And for Thanksgiving and Christmas, I distinctly remember times where on Thanksgiving or Christmas, when we were younger, my sister is a couple years older than me. So before she was able to drive, I'll put it like that. Thanksgiving, we may do the night before Thanksgiving with my dad and his family. And then on Thanksgiving Day, we would spend the day at my grandmother's house on my mom's side and see her family. And then we would always come home. My mom would have something to eat and we would do that. As we got a little bit older and we were able to drive, we could kind of split the day. We would start at my dad's family's house and then we would go to my mother's family's house and then we'd end up at my mom's house. And then as we got even older, when we were college age and after my nephew was born, my dad would spend the holidays with us at my mom's house. So we would still be together. We would still split the day where we would hang out with my dad's family, we would hang out with my mom's family, and we would do things at our family. So we just made it work, right? So in my mind, when I'm in a relationship with this guy, I realize that we're both hundreds of miles away from our families, but we can figure out how to split these holidays. So maybe if one year we do Christmas in my hometown and the next year we do Christmas in your hometown, or one year we do Thanksgiving with your family and that year we do Christmas with my family, and then the next year we alternate. Seemed like something so simple, right? But for some reason we never could figure it out, and I never really saw it clearly right when it was happening. But essentially, it was a manipulation tactic. He was, unbeknownst to me, slowly isolating me from my family and my friends and the people that I cared about the most. And at the time, I didn't see it because here's the thing. I would agree to go home with him for the holidays. It was closer to go to his family than it was to my family. To get to his family, we could drive, right? It was about a 9-hour drive. It was difficult because, like I said, there was a lot of time where he was in and out of work. There were several holidays where he was unemployed. So traveling where we probably should have stayed where we were, we didn't. We would travel to his hometown and he would convince me that, and I would go with it, right? I could take complete accountability for the thoughts that I had in my head. It would be cheaper for us to travel to see his family because we could drive. We need gas money. We need money to eat on the road. We'll be able to eat when we get down there. We could stay with his family and then we could come back, right? And 9 times out of 10, I might be getting paid while we're down there or on the way back, right? So it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt financially as much. Now think about it. I told y'all before, this guy is a liar. I didn't think about this until really just a couple weeks ago. But if you're lying to your mom about working, you can't tell her I'm not able to come home because financially I can't afford it, because she doesn't know that you're unemployed. So we were traveling, we were getting down there, and I was footing the bill. And I really didn't think too much of it at the time. But in the back of my mind, I was getting tired, right? Like, I have to admit, like, at the time, I felt like, to me, it's important to be with family during the holidays. So I'm not able to see my family, but if I could spend time with you, because I'm in a relationship with you, and we're going to see your family, then it's fine, right? Or we can see your daughter, or she could come up here. Like, that's what it's about, right? It started to wear on me after a while. I really wanted to come home, but I felt like I can't afford to buy 2 plane tickets. I mean, certainly we could drive home, but why would I do that? It's the middle of the winter. I'm driving into the Midwest. The weather's completely unpredictable. I don't want to get stuck. For me, it's about a 16-hour drive. I personally would prefer to do it over 2 days. So you're talking about a hotel stay overnight. It's just a little bit cheaper maybe to fly, but then it's like you're like paying for 2 plane tickets. I can't do that, and I don't want to do that. And then I know when I come home, I'm going to want to see everybody because I haven't been home all year. So I'm going to want to see my friends. I'm going to want to go out to brunch. I want to go out to dinner. Maybe we might go out to the club or to the bar. I want to see my family. I want to do this. I want to do that. So I have to start spending money while I'm at home too, right? So the thought of being able to do that was just like so much pressure on me that it was like nothing for me to agree to just spend time with him and his family, right? But it wore on me after a while. And then sometimes, like I said, his daughter would come up and that would be so great. But I still would be like, it's kind of wearing me down because I'm not able to see my family. Now, y'all got to think, in between all of this, he was verbally abusive to me. He was mentally abusive to me. He was physically abusive to me. So that's why I said, in hindsight, this is a red flag. In hindsight, he was slowly but surely isolating me from everybody that I cared about. I still talk to my family all the time. I still saw him on FaceTime, but I didn't see him in person. So you can't see somebody's body language over FaceTime, right? You can't hear all the time the influxes in my voice over FaceTime, and I could fake it. You know, I could talk to you over the phone and not put you on FaceTime so you can't see that I have been crying or that I'm worried or that I'm completely stressed out about something that I don't really want to talk about. It's almost like he knew if I was able to get close to my family, they would figure it out or they would pull it out of me. Something's going on here, right? So what he did was kept me away from him. It wasn't hard because I was 1,000 miles away from my family. Another thing he used to always say to me, and I thought it was real cute at the time, he would always tell me, like, it's just me and you. It's me and you against the world. We all we got. When times got hard, when things got rough, it was always we all we got. And I really felt like, in my mind, we are all we got here, right? Because neither one of us had family in Texas. We were hundreds of miles away from our parents, our siblings, people, you know, some of our really closest friends. So yeah, if something happens, you're the closest person to me right here where I am. But if you think about that, it's kind of like after a while I started thinking like, wait a minute though, but you're not all I got. You actually are not all I got. See, for him, he wasn't real close to his family. He wasn't real close to, it wasn't a lot of people that he called friend, right? And he would tell me stories about it all the time. He would tell me how he fell out with this person, how he not close with this person, how he was a loner, you know, da-da-da-da-da. All those things are telling about somebody. I am not a loner. Now, do I like being by myself? Heck yeah. I'm a introverted extrovert. I'm so cool with like just being in my own little world, in my own space. But I do like to be around my friends. I do like to be around my family. I love that. I love that energy. I need it. I need it to survive. And this guy started making me feel like, because of all these other things that were going on with the verbal abuse, the mental abuse, Even just financially, if you think about it, he was financially abusing me because he made me feel like I owed him something, right? We moved to Houston because I accepted a job there. And he will always make me feel guilty about the things that happened once we got there, and it really being my fault. It was like a game. It was like my mind was like twisted up. I really didn't understand what gaslighting was until way after I got out of the relationship with this guy. I really didn't understand what isolating somebody meant and felt like until after I got out of the relationship with this guy. So what I want y'all to understand is that, like, at the time, I thought, yeah, this is fine. Like, I'm not the type of person, if I'm in a relationship with you, I want to be with you. I want to spend time with you. And of course, I want to spend time with you and your family because I'm trying to get to know you, right? Of course, I want you to spend time with your daughter. I never would expect to be put in front of her, right? But when somebody tell you we all we got, and you know good and well you ain't all I got. I actually got a really good support system. I have a really strong family unit that cares about me. I don't care how often I talk to them or not. I don't care how often I see them or not. My family loves me and my family has my back, and I got them and they got me. And you will never take their place, right? A guy will never take their place. This is what I knew in my head. But at the time I was going through it, I was like, my thoughts was getting real twisted up. And I just couldn't see it straight. What I would just want y'all to know is isolating, when somebody gets you in a position where you start feeling like you're getting isolated from your friends, you get isolated from your family members, even if you feel like they're not telling you, I don't want you spending time with them, I don't want you spending time with that person, I don't want you going to this place. They don't always have to say it, because people who manipulate. They do it very well. They've been doing it for a long time. They know what to do. They know what to say. And it comes out as sounding so sincere. It comes out sounding like so logical that you don't even know what's going on until it's done. So I hope y'all get something from this. I hope it doesn't seem like I'm all over the place. But at the time, that's what I felt like. I felt like my brain was like twisted and all over the place. I don't want y'all to get into a position this holiday season or any other season where you feel like you can't hang out with, you can't make a phone call, you can't reach out to your loved ones because of the person that you're in a relationship with. That's a red flag. If you feel like you can't be yourself around your support system, if you can't see your support system, if you can't talk to them freely, that's a red flag. If you feel like you can't move the way that you used to because of what you think this person will do or say or how they'll react, or they may be in their feelings, that's a red flag. If you find that this person is in their feelings about you going out and having a girls' night, but they can't hang out with the fellas, right? They want you to be friends with their friends, but they don't want to know your friends. They don't want to be friends with your friends. That's a red flag. So I just want y'all to be careful. I said this before. We may be entering into some very troublesome times. So I want y'all to pay attention to the red flags. If something don't sit right with you, something just in your gut is telling you, I don't really like this, I'm not really feeling this, it's okay to say, I'm not cool with that. It's okay to walk away. I want y'all to be able to walk away from a potentially bad situation before it gets bad, because I didn't do that. And once it got bad, I was already isolated, so that I didn't want to share what was going on. I was embarrassed. I was afraid to say something and him find out, because I didn't want the situation to get worse. But you can't control those type of things, right? People who are abusive abuse, and it's a cycle, it's a pattern that they have. And now that I'm on the other side of it and I've met people and I've attended group therapy and I've done counseling, they all the same. They might have a different MO, but it's all the same. And all the tactics that they use are all the same. So I just want y'all to look out for the red flags. And if it's not you that's in a toxic or abusive relationship, but you know somebody who might be, keep an eye out. It's a delicate situation, so approach with care and just understand you can't make someone leave a situation until they're ready to, but just be there for them when they are. So that's all I got, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope this message connects to the right person. I also hope that you guys have a wonderful Christmas and an amazing New Year. And I will see y'all in the next episode. Don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe. And drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think and let me know what you want to hear next. All right, guys. Love you. Talk soon. Bye.